You already know who it is, man. It's your boy Phantom, man. They'll be doing a video discussing a world where Netero never died. Now, when it comes to Netero, this character is very controversial just because he is a fan favorite character. Come on, we all love old man Netero. I mean, if you literally say that you don't like Netero as a character, you're not a real Hunter x Hunter fan. But with his death, a lot of people were upset. It caused a lot of eyes to be raised, and a lot of people didn't necessarily think that he was used correctly, and some people had a lot of different viewpoints on it. So today I'm going to be discussing what would happen had he had stayed alive. Now, when we look at Netero, we have to put respect on his name because he is the strongest, or he was the strongest Nen user at one point alive. Yes, you could not touch this man. Like, it doesn't matter who you were, what type of training you did or anything. Netero was at the top, and rightfully so, because we've seen what type of training he did, you know, basically just sitting out there in the cold throughout all the different seasons, just training his body, doing all this extra and very grueling training, and it definitely did pay off. So the fact that we never really got to see Netero in his prime was kind of highway robbery for somebody who was the strongest of all. And speaking of his death, we got to see Netero use a little bit of his power in his battle versus Miriam. Now, the reason why I bring up the Miriam battle is because we know that, technically speaking, Netero could have walked away with that situation with his life. Yes, he could have walked away from that situation with his life, because we seen Miriam, he actually did spare him. Yes, had it not been for obviously Netero having the rose bomb and having all these different things, then he would have probably would have taken him up on the offer. He would have taken a 6-9 deal, you know. He just would have had to cop guilty. But no, in all seriousness, basically Netero, he could have had a chance to be alive, but obviously he did have the rose bomb, and who knows, had he would have actually stayed alive and took in Miriam's offer, because at that point Miriam, he wanted no smoke with any more humans, not because he couldn't beat them, but just because he was tired of them. So that just goes to show you that these two, maybe they could have became not friends, but maybe like acquaintance with each other, simply because they both did respect each other's strength. It just so happened that they were in two different sides of the battlefield, and it ended up costing someone's life. Now, the biggest issue with Netero's death is indeed Beyond Netero. And the reason why I say Beyond Netero is because once Beyond Netero was introduced, that's when people got sick. Yes, people were getting angry, because a lot of people, they thought to themselves, okay, why didn't Netero just call his son Beyond Netero to assist with the Chimera Ants? But it's not that simple. Like, we have to realize that the people who he called on were the only people who were available. Like, they confirmed that these guys weren't necessarily the strongest when it came to the Hunter Association, but they were good at their jobs, and there were the few hunters that were available, because obviously there's more people stronger than Nav and Moral. So that was the one thing. But then we have to remember that Beyond Netero, this man is a psycho. This man is crazy. This man is spooky. He literally only exists just to go to the Dark Continent. Like, we see that he was literally locked down. He was literally thrown away just so that he couldn't go into the Dark Continent. So we know that Beyond Netero, if it wasn't the Dark Continent, that he was not trying to hear it. You know, if it's not about the money, do not call his phone. That's all that Beyond Netero was saying, basically. So there's no way that he would have actually went out there and just, you know, demonstrated his power for the Chimera Ants. I know some people would be like, oh, well, that's his dad, blah, blah, blah. You got to remember, Beyond Netero is said to be stronger than Netero in his prime. So this is some guy that you could just boss around. Like, there's a reason this guy was locked away. Yes, the hunters had to literally lock him away until they were going to voyage to the Dark Continent. So this guy, Beyond Netero, it's not just like some random hunter. No, this guy's on a whole nother level, and it's not someone who you can just pick up and be like, yo, come over here and help me. Like, nah, Beyond Netero is a monster, and the reason why he didn't call him was because he was more focused on the Dark Continent, and he was just hard to reach. So that's the whole issue concerning Beyond Netero and Netero. A lot of people, they were displeased that he didn't call Beyond Netero, but listen, he couldn't do it. And speaking of Beyond Netero, I want to just discuss the election arc would have been completely different, simply because the election arc literally only happened because Netero died. So this basically is telling us that there will probably either A, Netero, he would stay as the chairman, and we know that all the hunters, they basically respected him, or B, they would probably still move on to select a new chairman. And I would probably say that they would go with B just so that they could still have the arc, but I guess it would be cool to have Netero in the background, Netero still being alive, to add on to, you know, just those great Netero moments, him giving advice and all that stuff to the future chairman. I definitely do think that there would have been a lot less foul play going on during the election arc had Netero been alive, but I definitely do think that the election arc, it would have been 10 times better because we would have got to see the Zodiacs interact with Netero. Like, imagine how dope that would be, seeing Jean, Netero talk, you know, Paris and Netero, you know. There just would have been so many dope moments if the Netero would have stayed alive for the election arc. And last but not least, I just want to discuss the Dark Continent, because I want to pose this question to you guys. If Netero was alive, do you think that we would have gotten to the Dark Continent sooner? Yes, I want you guys to answer that, because let's be honest, now that we know that Beyond Netero wants to go to the Dark Continent so badly, this just goes to show you that because we know that Netero has been there multiple times, they basically didn't have a team ready to go to the Dark Continent. But I'm pretty sure if Netero and Beyond Netero were alive and basically were both eager to go, they would have ended up going a lot sooner. So do you guys think that they would have been to the Dark Continent a lot more quicker had Netero been alive? Me personally, I think we would have been there a lot more quicker, just because at that point Netero, he wouldn't necessarily be the chairman, considering the fact that they still did do the election arc, and not to mention the fact that Beyond Netero will be by his side, so there'll be a lot of firepower. But that's basically it for this little video discussing a world if Netero never died. Me personally, I do think Netero's death was amazing, it was dope, but it would be crazy if this man was still alive. Comment what you guys think down below, subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.